Hello everybody, this is race 11 of the 2025 OVKA karting season. This is going to be the pre-final of the LO206 Legends class, 50 and over, 390-pound kart and driver together. And this is the second to the last scheduled race for the season. Right now in the standings, I am in first place. So my goal is to finish pretty close to the front. I'm not going to do anything crazy today, but just try to stay clean, stay in the front, log a top 5, if not better, finish so that I get a halfway decent points day. I qualified 5th. I think we had about 14 total drivers in the race this day. And I was pretty close to everybody that qualified in front of me. So we're heading out, getting those tires warmed up. I think this is the second season we've been allowed to scrub tires. I think everybody's pretty good at it now. It'll probably stay allowable for the upcoming seasons. But we're coming around now. I got my buddy Otto right in front of me, the number 89. He's one of the guys I pit with. He's a fellow skedaddler. And then I've got the 23 a little further back in the pack. He's my other pit mate. But we're coming down. I'm still driving my Ricciardo kart. I think I have one of my Ghost Racing motors on the back of it. And I get a pretty decent start. There was some weird contact right in front of me. So the 5 who started in a P4, I believe, he gets pushed back a hair. And I'm able to clear him. Otto was actually, the number 89 was actually in the lead there for just a second. Now this also is one of the configurations. I don't particularly care for that turn I just went through. It's called the bus stop. To go fast through it, it kind of seems like you have to drive over curbs. I don't prefer to drive over curbs. Kind of bangs your kart up pretty good. I'm not one of those guys who can just throw caution to the wind, or I mentally can't just do it with my equipment. There are some people that they drive it like you stole it. They don't care. They'll jump stuff, run through. I'm not one of those dudes. I just don't like having to constantly fix and repair things. But we got a pretty good jump. Some of my 360-degree footage is a little bit wonky in this video. Didn't realize it until I'd already finished editing the footage, and in reality it's like 20 seconds of goofy stuff, so I wasn't gonna go back and reopen the files and start it all over again. But the 89's holding pretty tight on the 3rd place position. We are getting a little bit of a gap, but he's not doing too bad. But if I realistically want to try to contend with the top 2, I'm going to need to try to get around the 89. And I'm able to right down through this section here. He gives me plenty of room, drops in behind me. Now we have actually gapped the rest of the field fairly well. But I'm starting to get the hang of the bus stop back there, and I start to pull just a little bit on the 89, but he's got a pretty substantial gap over 5th place right now. Always got to love that mega bright orange helmet. So I'm going to pop it back around to the guys in front of me, see if I can catch up with them. The 22 keeps trying to duck under the 84, but to no avail. He almost got some action right there, but the 84 held it tight, stayed next to him. He did not concede, and that's the smart move down through that section right there, because generally if they get under you going into turn 3, they're going to be outside of you for all the other turns, so you just need to hold your position, and then they're going to generally have to concede or fall in behind you. Now with those two battling just a little bit, I was able to close up on the 22. But the 84 is stretching it out on us a little bit. Now this is further down in the race. I think we're about 2 laps to go. There was not a lot of changes going on in that, in all those laps. And again, they're gapping me up a little bit. I'm not super concerned because, again, this is the pre-final. It's a 10-lap pre-final, then a 12-lap final. We are coming up on lap traffic. The 318 usually fast. He's usually up in the front. In a lot of my videos, he had some kind of a mechanical issue, I have to assume. Or else maybe he just got knocked off track and he's so far behind he's not really going balls to the wall. But he lets me pass, and I think we're coming around to the white flag now. Now, unfortunately, something happened with the 89 also. I don't know what happened, but he ended up falling way back in the pack. I think. I don't think he got DQ'd or anything like that, but I know that he ends up having to start the final way in the back. So I think, I don't know if he had an issue with his fuel, I guess the feeder tube that's in his fuel tank, you know, the one that goes from the cab down to the bottom of the tank. I think it might have gotten a crack in it or fell off. So I think he potentially had what would have seemed like running out of the fuel, although he had fuel in the tank. But we're going to go around and I'm going to finish third, so not too bad. I'm going to start on the second row on the inside for the final. So things are going somewhat as planned. It'd always be nice to get a win or second place, but a third is going to really keep me, you know, where I want to be in the points. And with nobody really pressing me from behind, I can drive behind the two guys in front of me. I'm going to give my homie a little help there. He stalled out. I gave him a little push into the pits. And now I'm not going to jump to another video. I'm going to leave this one rolling. We're going to go right to the final. Now there will be some drama in this final, but I will have plenty of time to talk about it once we get up to it. But, you know, we're getting ready to roll. Again, this is the 11th race. One race after this, everybody is. Most people are watching their points. The 22, he kind of started racing the Legends class late in the season, so he really didn't have much opportunity to even try to win the points championship. So he's out trying to collect wins right now, and he's doing a good job at it. I think maybe at this point he's at about, I don't know, 3 or 4 wins. Whereas I've only had 1 win, but I've pretty much podiumed all but 2 races. And that's, you know, that's put me in a very good spot in the points. Again, I am pretty far in front of the points right now. The 84 is coming strong though in the points, and he will end up doing enough races where he could potentially catch me. And so far today, he got pole position in qualifying, and he's led every lap. So he gets a good start. I stay right on him. I go back. And somehow, I just don't know what happened, but we just obliterated the field on this start. They will never get any closer than they are right now. Well, maybe breaking in this corner, but once we start hitting the straightaways, we're going to keep gaining on them, and they're going to be out of the picture pretty soon. So it's going to come down to a 3-person race. Now, my buddy, the number 89, he's towards the back. He's got the bright orange helmet. I think he ended up starting like 10th or 11th. He's going to be involved in some drama coming up sometime soon. Again, this is a 12-lapper, and what ends up happening is you get one of those instances where you have somebody who gets irritated in the race, and this is going from, and I'm recapping this basically from the information I received from the number 89 who will be involved in this incident, and then some of my personal experience with the other people that were involved in the incident. But basically, I'll explain it as we're driving, so I don't have to explain it after it already happens. But there will be 3 carts in a row. The 89 will be in the front. There will be 1 cart behind him, and then 1 other cart behind them. So basically 3 carts, head to tail pretty much, or at least pretty close to head to tail. They will be coming down to this turn right here, which everybody is pretty good at. But the 3rd cart in the chain decided to not apparently brake whatsoever, and smashed into the cart in front of him, the one that was in the middle, and knocked that cart on top of the number 89. Like on his body, they all pile into the bags. The 89's sitting there with another go-kart on his body for basically no real reason. It's just not a place to have that kind of a crash unless you have a complete brake failure, or all of a sudden somebody blew a bunch of oil on the track. But going into that corner, the only way you're really going to knock the hell out of the guy in front of you, where he actually hits the guy in front of him and goes on top of him, is if you're probably trying to make that happen. Maybe you're just trying to bump him and you don't think it's going to be quite that hard, but nonetheless, you really have to be either a total noob or trying to make that kind of a result happen, in my opinion. I've driven through that corner a lot of times. It's really hard to hit somebody quite that hard to knock them up on top of another cart. So that's going to be the drama. We're going to get a big old red flag down here pretty soon. I'll leave a lot of the footage in on this video, since, another spoiler, this is going to be the last video of the season. I'm currently driving in 3rd place out of 14 carts, which will net me a pretty good points total for the day. It's going to turn out that this point total is large enough that I will not need to race the final race of the season. There had to be some really, big time weird stuff going on. First of all, we would have had to have 18 drivers in the last race, and that would have been abnormal for the end of the season. So what I ended up doing is I did show up for the 12th race, just in case 18 people showed up. If 18 people showed up, I was going to race. If 18 people didn't show up, I was not going to race, because I didn't want to somehow get some weird disqualification. And then, some disqualifications, when they happen, you have to count that race towards your point total, which would have been a 0, which would have done me in, possibly. So, to avoid any risk of, losing my points lead, there was no need to race the last race, so I just came out, helped out my pit mates, and just watched the races. So right here's one of those sections where I kind of gank up my editing, and I just have the side of my head for a little bit. But the dudes do pop back in. And again, we are super far in front of the pack. We're almost a full straightaway. We're all hanging pretty close. I did end up getting the fastest lap in this race by about a 10th, not a whole lot, but the fastest lap. And I was staying right kind of where I wanted to get. And I was getting better and better at the B turn, or not the B turn, but the bus stop, which is this turn coming up here, where I wasn't getting, if you pay attention to the video, I'm getting gapped coming out of this turn almost every lap, except for right there. I go through it pretty well, and I do not get gapped. Most of the other laps, once I get through that, I kind of start closing back in on the guys, through the rest of the lap. It's just that turn that was doing me wrong. But there's the red flag. So when you look down here in the, straight ahead down there, that's turn 1, about halfway through the turn, all in the bags. There's 3 go-karts. With the 89 has one of them sitting on his head. And, besides the fact that, it's just not really something that I think, I don't think it was too accidental, personally. And on top of that, it ends up putting a pretty decent amount of damage on the 89's go-kart. Probably in the $500 or $600 range worth of damage. It also hurt him. His leg got gouged up. It tore up his, fairly new, fairly nice race suit. You'll see here in a minute, I kept the camera going on all this and left it in just to kind of show the stuff that goes on. But what ends up happening here is, we're standing here. They bring the ambulance out there because, they were concerned if Otto was hurt or not. It took them a little while, I think, to get the cart off of him. And then, I guess they came down. You're going to see it. They'll come down. We're trying to discuss. Now, right now, I'll tell you, honestly, I'm like, if this race gets called right now, I'm totally cool with it because I'm going to get the 3rd place points. I'm not going to crash my go-kart. I still have the grands coming up, so any risk of smashing up my go-kart is going to be gone. And more than likely, this will kind of clinch the championship for me right here. So, they're down there evaluating what's going on. We are past the halfway point in this race also. You know, the 84s led every lap. 22 and I are just basically tagging along behind them, hoping. Well, I'm basically hoping that the 22 is going to get up there and put a challenge on them, and the two of them might, you know, slow each other down a little bit, trying to do the passing that I can somehow capitalize and get past both of them, or at least one of them. But it's not an issue that I'm going to be pushing at this point in the season and this stage of the race. But, you know, this is what happens on a red flag. We're standing around trying to figure out what's going on. I'm going to cut a little bit out, but the club president's going to come down and kind of give us a little bit of the info on it. We're actually right now trying to figure out who is involved in the crash. We do realize that the 89 is in it, but I haven't figured out who the other two people are. And I'm not going to name names. If they watch the video, they'll probably figure out who they were. And, you know, we all head down to kind of, I guess, we get called down here in a second, and the race director is towards the other direction. And I apologize. I turned the volume way down, but I do think I might drop one of the some colorful language right around this part here. But I don't think I've had too much colorful language in my videos this season, so apologize if that irritates you. But that was just what was going on at the time. I just didn't cut any of the actual content for, you know, what's going down while we're sitting here trying to figure out how this race is going to proceed. So again, we're trying to figure out who's going on. So what will happen is we're going to go down and we're going to have a little chit chat with the race director, and he's going to ask everybody if you want to keep racing or not. And I was like, you know, I just said, I don't care whether we do or whether we don't. In reality, I'll still race. I have no issues with it. My cart's not going to break down, and I'm going to probably still drive around in third place. But I still don't have an issue if we don't race either, because I still have third place, and I'm still going to get like 100 plus points for the championship. So we go down there, and that ends up what happens. The majority of the other guys said they were fine with just ending the race, and that's what happened. So we end the race. Now I'm going to keep it rolling because there goes Otto's all smashed to hell cart on that little flatbed trailer, or little flatbed golf cart that just drove by. And you're gonna see it when we go down here. And I also kept it running so you can see my man Otto coming down here with his suit all ripped up, which again to me was just not necessary, man. And you know, Otto's not too pleased about it. Neither is I don't even think the other fellow that was involved in the crash. But unfortunately, that's what happens, I think, when somebody gets out there and they think that the race should be going the way they think that it should be going, and either they get beat, they get passed, and they get some kind of attitude with whatever happened, and then they just kind of adopt, I'm just going to bulldoze on through everybody and they can deal with it attitude, which is, I think, what ended up happening in this issue. And the bulldozing through everybody turned out not very good. Not necessarily for the guy doing the bulldozing, but the guy's getting bulldozed. You're going to see Otto roll down here, and, you know, his pants are all tore up. He got lucky he didn't get, you know, hurt worse than he did. Because that's, you're basically tacking out as you're hitting that corner right down there. And, you know, you're probably approaching 50 miles an hour going into that corner. So I'm just going to let it run for a little bit. I did end up winning the championship because at the next race, there were only 14 racers. And like I said, I was able to chill, help out my homies a little bit, and just kind of enjoy the day watching the racing, which is, you know, fun to do sometimes because you got different people you're pals with, and you can root for them in their different races and actually watch them. Sometimes if you're one of the people driving, yeah, there's Otto. He's looking a little rough. I mean, his car's smoked. I think it screwed up his Alfano computer. You know, steering wheels are pretty expensive. It bent the hell out of his steering wheel. I think it bent his steering shaft. I don't even know what else it busted up, but it did not do his cart any good. And it's all money he's going to have to spend to fix it. I mean, the guy doing the pile driving in on the turn one, he's not paying for any of it. So just, you know, if you're a person who gets riled up on a track, it benefits you to keep that under control, because people don't get that irritated with you if you're not running them over and not causing them to have to go spend a bunch of money to fix their go-kart up. So that's just my viewpoint on it. I'm sure somebody's gonna not agree with this, but that's the brakes, I guess. They can drop it in the comments, although I rarely get any comments. So anyways, there's about a minute left. I'm just gonna load up my go-kart and head on over. I do pass tech, which is another concern. I don't want to get DQ'd for anything again. It's, you know, right at the end of the season. But it turned out to be a really fun season for me. It was my best season yet at the OVKA. I'm looking forward to coming back next year. I'm going to be racing my same go-kart. It handled fantastic the whole year. It's basically the same as a Burrell AM29. Mine's a little bit older. I've got the older brake system on it. They have a new improved brake system. I don't know when that one came out, but it's been around for a few years. Basically, the 84's got the new version right behind me. Basically the same kart as mine, different brakes. But, you know, he's obviously doing well in it. Better than he has in past years, where I think he was driving a Comet Eagle, and I don't know what else he was driving. He might have had a Margay for a season. But he's enjoying the Burrell. I'm enjoying my, you know, it's a Ricardo kart now, but it's the same chassis. And that's basically going to be it, everybody. We will see you at the next season. I'll just let this play out. I'm not going to trim any off again. Last video of the season. It's a long one. So see you all next season. I'm looking forward to it quite a lot. I think I've got a couple. We might even have newbies showing up. Again, if you're 50 and over, OVKA Legends class is the place to be.
I just did it to make it look like I got the tools. I don't know if I got the right tools, but I got some tools. You got a plastic hammer. Dude, I wasn't going to try anything on YouTube yo-yos. I'm going to stick with that third place. I'll be just fine. I know you were sitting like... Dude, we were all pretty much the same speed. It's pretty fun. It is fun when everyone's rolling together. I'm ready to go. Back up, we got to work.